ma'am, this has been reset a couple of times, and it doesn't
Yeah,
look like
so
there's.
can I ask a question?
And then, and so we can't. So where are we
Sorry,
going
can
with this, ma'am?
I
You had this has been reset a few times. This has been filed back in the middle of December, and we haven't been able to get. You haven't been able to get service on the respondent, and so
yes, sorry. Sorry, can I ask a question? It's because I was speaking with the clerk, and the clerk told me that they filed some files that I didn't want to get filed.
say that again, ma'am.
And so I'm wondering if I can just can you hear me?
Yeah, but you kind of broke up on me there.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, yes. Yes, it was about the files because I filed some evidence, but some evidence I didn't want to get filed, but they were filed in mistake, and I was wondering if I can remove them before I can serve the papers.
Well, no, I mean, once something's been filed, it's been filed. And so we can't take it out. But I want to know where you go with the case. I know this has been reset a number of times. There hasn't been able to get any service on the opposing party. And so, and I don't know whether he's had
yes,
any tour since then, but you know, this could be dismissed basically without prejudice. And if he surfaces and if you get service on him, you able to get service on him or find out how you can do that, you can refile it and go forward from there.
I can try and serve it, but I was wondering if I can remove some of the material that has been filed because I didn't file it and the clerk filed it without asking me, and I wasn't aware that she was going to file it or he was going to file it.
Who
Is it
filed
possible
what,
to do
ma'am?
that? Initially, some attachments I sent to the other judge, they were filed, but I didn't know that they were going to file them essentially.
Yeah.
And so
No,
I don't want them to be on the record.
When you send something to the court, it's involving a case, it's going to go in the file. It is just going to. And once it's there, you know, I can't take it out.
Okay. But so okay, because I used those some of the material, like some pictures, I had used them for another court case. So
Right.
I'm not sure if it makes sense to.
You could. So what do you wish to do here for today, ma'am? And I think the other judge said he was going to allow this one more time, and then this would be just, you know, there wouldn't be any more renewals. This would just be dismissed, and then if he surfaces or you're able to get service on him, you can refile it.
If I refile it, then I can refile different photographs, right? Like
yes,
not the same one.
Yes, you can. This can be dismissed, and if you want to refile it, you can file whatever you like. But again, nothing's going to happen until you're able to get him served.
And can I serve via email electronically, or does it have to be with somebody?
The filing?
With somebody physically?
I believe.
No, for the service.
Yeah. What's that? No, service going to need to be personal service because, I mean, there is allowed for emailing, but we can't know. We need to have acknowledgement that he actually got it. And that's very difficult to do with email.
Okay. Electronic email, so it doesn't work in the United States because in Europe, for example, we have electronic acknowledgement.
So, ma'am, what do you wish to have happen here today?
So there's no other way I can file. I have to have it personally served, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I can try one last time to get it served, but after that,
we can try it. And then, all right, ma'am, good one more time. We can reset it for 2 weeks with notice.
Okay.
You'll get a notice of hearing get sent to you, and then this will be the last time.
Okay, thank you. And sorry, can another party send him the material electronically as well, or not? Like,
Say that again, ma'am. I didn't understand your question.
Can this person knows, file him the material, like send it to him electronically, or does it always have to be personally?
He needs to get served, and we need to have proof of service somehow some shows that he had served. And just sending to an email address is probably not going to be enough. I'm not sure where this person is. I'm not sure whether this person lives locally, or where this person is at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can try the last time, and
all right.
Hopefully I manage.
Okay, notice that will get sent to you. This will be the last time, and we'll see you back here on February 5th.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're free to leave the Zoom call.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And Shelley O'Neill. And in the courtroom, do we have Tara O'Neill and Otto O'Neill? Yep. So all the O'Neills are present. Come on your camera, please. And so, Ms. Bliss, are you there also? This is a case, and Mr. Oram and Ms. Bliss are seeking an order against Ms. Bargmeyer. Mr. Oram, I'll hear from you. Go ahead. So before you go, I just want to, you just had a hearing. You folks just had a hearing, didn't you, in Kitsap County?
Correct.
And when was that hearing?
December 19th.
Okay, and where do you work?
UniFirst in Puyallup.
Why didn't you get this back in front of the judge in Kitsap County who ruled on these things earlier?
That was her. That was her having a no contact order against me that the judge threw out.
No, I know, but it's the same. I know that, but it's the same. Seems to be the same parties, kind of writing out of the same case. Kind of makes sense to me to get it back in front of the same person who kind of could get the context of the whole thing. But go ahead. Now I'll hear from you why you feel you need an order against Ms. Bargmeyer.
We're filing for a no contact and harassment order off Ms. Bargmeyer. In our previous court, I had mentioned that I wasn't sure if she was involved in a lot of emails sent to my fiance and I that were a lot of degrading, a lot of harassment, a lot of slander. After going back, Ms. Bargmeyer had contacted my work to try to compromise my job and had lied about the statement she gave my work to try and get me fired. We are just done with these emails. We are done with her contacting us. We are done with any part of her. And we would just like a no contact order, and we would like to be left alone.
Did she contact you at all following that last hearing, or is it just, I saw in there that she made some complaints to the work, or what exactly? She
had made some complaints to my work that I had that she had a no contact order on me the day that I drove by her house. She had tried to get me banned from quote unquote her city, which is in my district of work. Where does she live? In Bremerton. Okay, but you work in Puyallup? Yes, sir. What about your job takes you to Bremerton? It's a delivery service. I see. Yeah. But again, the only interaction that took place after the hearing in Kitsap County was her contacting your work? Yes. Okay. Ms. Bliss, anything you wish to add at this time?
No, just basically the same, that I'd like to not be contacted, no emails, no text messages. Unfortunately, prior to John being served for the previous case, we didn't have a name for this person or anything behind what was going on until they finally surfaced for this last court case. And that's why we chose to go ahead and try to just get this all ended.
Ms. Bargmeyer, what's your position on all of this?
Well, first, sir, they did file 2 protection orders onto 1 petition. Ms. Bliss was not involved in the previous protection order, but there have 2 alleged different incidents. So it's not fair to me to defend myself against 2 people muddling their alleged incidents together. In addition, Mr. Oram did ask for a realignment in the previous court case.
What's this all about?
Mr. Oram's
Have to say.
Mr. Oram created a fake Facebook account with his friend Brent Hagen and decided to harass. They reached out to 20 plus friends of mine, 5 family members, 1 family member 5 times. Mr. Oram also tried to reach out on his Facebook page. He reached out onto his Instagram page. He drives for a commercial delivery service, sir. His closest delivery was a grocery store about a mile away. I live in county. I don't live off a main street. You have to have an effort to get to my house. He drove by my house and then the next day on Instagram decided to describe
Okay, but hang
my
on just
vehicle.
a second. Just a second here. You said that he reached out and created a fake account and talked to you and all this stuff.
Yes.
I mean, why? What was the basis for that?
Because he's mad that I reached out to someone,
Who'd you reach out to?
a different woman once.
Any of these folks?
No. Mr. Oram's been doing all the harassing, sir.
Did you contact his work?
He says I contacted his work on the day that we left court. However, in the evidence that he submitted, his vehicle information, the chat was actually the day before. And my complaint was that there was a delivery vehicle. There was a delivery vehicle that drove into my neighborhood that shouldn't have been there. And he followed up with Instagram the next day describing my vehicle and saying that I should wave as he drives by. So the first was, yes, I contacted before our court hearing and said that I currently had a temporary protection order against him, but he drove by my work and I felt that that was unsafe. And so they took down my complaint. They said they understood. And Mr. Oram he actually got the incident report. UniFirst did give him the incident report with my name and my address. And you can actually see my phone number on there, which is actually a violation of privacy. Probably a privacy policy.
Was a temporary order entered in
Kitsap?
Kitsap?
Yes.
And your position is it was a day before the hearing?
Yes. He even submitted, the evidence he submitted even confirms that. If you look on vehicle information, it actually, when it says notes 12/18/23, chat received from Jennifer.
Got it. Mr. Oram? Any response to that?
Yeah. So the date of the time where I drove by the house, to go back to her further statement, she has been reaching out to friends, any female friends of mine. She's been setting up fake emails, but she had mentioned to a female friend of mine that her and I were sleeping together and was trying to mess up my fiance and I's relationship by saying this. She reached out to this female friend that she had no clue. She admitted that she was sleeping with me to this person. So yes, when her name surfaced on December 1st, I believe I drove by her house to see if I recognized her. There was no protection order on that day. The protection order was served on the 6th of December or the 5th of December. So after I received the protection order, I did not drive by her house. I did not contact her. So I don't know where that's in place, but yeah, there's been no harassing on my part. We were simply trying to find out who she is and what her madness is behind this, telling people that she's sleeping with me. I've never met this woman, never seen this woman. I have no interest in ever seeing this woman. Just want her out of my life.
All right. Ma'am, Ms. Bargmeyer, anything you'd like to say at this time?
Yeah, if you watch actually the video that I posted on Orem and emails, he actually admitted in court that I had nothing to do with this. So you can watch the video that he even supports my case that I did not send any of these emails. So he either lied in court then or he's lying in court now.
So there's screenshots of a series of texts. Who submitted those?
A lot of those were submitted from her and the previous.
And they showed me too, and they don't.
We resubmitted hers. Those were disregarded. Yes, I did say that she may have been caught up in something, but after reading some of her texts, the verbiage is still the same. So being that we haven't had a name, so we are linking
your texts
her
aren't that your text, if I'm reading them correctly, some of them don't really reflect all that well on you either there, Mr. Orem.
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. So here's what's going to happen here today. So
can I add something, please?
Yes.
The day after our court hearing, I did get a text from a fake number that actually referenced the incident report, quoted the incident report. And later in those texts, I do have it under Orem hearing, and it's further down that it does quote the incident hearing, and also sends a picture of me. It talks about my employment. It asks what military base I work on, but hey, I already know. The same context was all in the same conversations I had with Mr. Orem on Instagram. So he's continued to contact him or one of his friends.
Well, the only thing in front of me here now is Mr. Orem, Ms. Bliss's petition against Ms. Bargmeyer. Unlawful harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person that serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct must be such as would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress and must actually cause substantial emotional stress to the petitioner. Apparently, there was a hearing back in December, and at that hearing, Ms. Bargmeyer brought the petition against Mr. Orem. That was denied. Mr. Orem at the hearing asked to realign the parties and asked for an order against Ms. Bargmeyer. That was also denied. Since then, it doesn't appear to me that Ms. Bargmeyer says, well, there's some block number, but I can't make a finding that was Mr. Orem. Mr. Orem said he's had no contact from Ms. Bargmeyer. The date that was reported appears to be the day before the hearing when an actual order was in place. And so at this point, based on the evidence presented, I'm not going to find that a course of harassment against Mr. Orem or Ms. Bliss was occurred. And so the request for an order will be denied.
Thank you, sir.
And you all free to leave the Zoom call. We can do that at the end. You can get a copy of that after the, it'll go up on the Thurston County District Court website. And then you're all free to leave the Zoom call. Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
So you're asking for an order against Ms. Amons and Mr. and Ms. Amons.
You're asking for an order from Mr. and Mrs. Amons. You're asking for a protection order against Amanda and Steve.
Yes, I'm looking for a protection order against Amanda and Steve.
Okay, can you hear me?
Not very well.
Okay, so this isn't going to work, ma'am, for me to go to you and then you speak to him. He needs to be able to hear me. And I need to speak from him. I can't have, we went through this last week, ma'am, and I don't know, you're off camera. I can't see you, but the Amonses were here last week there was another resident. And I know that there was a woman on who was bringing the petition. Her name escapes me at the moment, but there's, I could tell that there were people off camera, kind of participating in the hearing, and we're not going to do that this time.
It's just Robert and I'm his caregiver, and he has a hard time hearing and a hard time processing information. Yeah. He's a veteran, and the reason that that we are trying to get a protection order is because the Amons, like they did
So I'm
with,
going to stop you there, ma'am, because there's no we here. See, that's my problem. The only person asking for a no contact order is Mr. Wallace.
I understand. I apologize. But we do have
It's the
Adult
same.
Protective Services that are also going to be asking for a protection order on behalf of Mr. Wallace.
So when is that going to take place?
We just met with them. I can give you the investigation ID number if you like.
No, I mean, there's nothing I can do with that now.
Well, we just received it.
So who filled out this petition, ma'am? Was that Mr. Wallace? Who wrote everything down here?
I did. But Mr. Wallace spoke to me and I wrote his words.
What did you say Adult Protective Services was going to do?
They're going to be getting a protection order is what the request was, or what Ms. Wan, the investigator, said that she was going to do.
How is she going to go about doing that?
That I'm not sure.
All right. So, ma'am, I'm going to figure out what we're going to do here today. Is he able to travel to come to court in person?
It's really difficult for him because he's in an electric wheelchair. He's wheelchair bound.
Yeah, I understand, but
If he has to, we can find a way, sir.
you know, and you told me, I think I heard you say that he has trouble processing things.
Yes, sir. He has some dementia and he has problems. When you talk to him, he has problems processing information.
All right. You wanted to say something, sir?
Yes. There's a copy of everything that's going on, right?
What do you mean?
Things are being videotaped and for to keep or process.
If you,
Miss Webb came out of the lady from the 16th came out of the bedroom earlier. I think Bob's being coached.
yeah, he
So
is.
okay, hang on, just stop here. Okay.
And this is the same lady.
Yeah,
her name's Carla,
I know that, ma'am. I know that, ma'am.
Said she was Tina's caretaker. Now she's Bob's.
Has anybody from Adult Protective Services contacted you folks?
No, they have not. And I used to work for
Okay,
DSHS.
yes or no question. You
No, Your Honor.
remind me, how long have you folks lived there? You told me last week.
Well, this April will be going on 4 years.
I see.
For a 4th-year renewal.
Yeah, we're on our
Alright.
4th year renewal. And the temporary order you have is don't go upon. That seems to be working.
Okay. So, ma'am, Mr. Gordon, I don't know if you can hear me.
Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Wallace, thank you.
Yes.
I'm not really comfortable going forward, given everything I've heard. When you say that he has trouble processing things and he suffers from, unfortunately, and these are your words, suffers from dementia, and you told me you're the one who filled out the petition. I'm just not really comfortable going forward at this time, given all of that. Then the question becomes what to do. And the temporary order was entered. We can renew that and reset this for a couple of 3 weeks, and then the order stays in place. then someone could track down something from Adult Protective Services and see if they have get a report from them to see what, if anything, they're going to do.
Okay. And then would you prefer that Mr. Wallace come into the courtroom instead of doing Zoom?
Ma'am, if I'm here in this case, I got to be satisfied that he's the one really asking for this and that he's of sufficient sound mind that I can rely on what he's telling me. And so, again, everything seems to be going through you right now. And then, and if I swear him in and testify, I'm not sure what I'm going to get, particularly because if you says he suffers from, again, I need to know what's coming from him and not from you.
Well, this is definitely coming from him. It's not coming from me.
This seems to be working right now. There hasn't been any, apparently. So we'll renew that and then see if someone can get a report from Adult Protective Services and just kind of see where we're at.
Okay.
I haven't talked to Bob in the same period of time as Whip, over a year.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on out there based on my experience last week in this, but
And if you notice, Bob's statement is the same as Miss Ford's.
it was, I did notice that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, which again, makes me wonder who's running the show. But we're going to redo this in 2 weeks. We'll reconvene and then we'll get a report from Adult Protective Services and see where we're at.
Okay. Thank you.
And so looks like a bunch of stuff was filed today. Who filed all that stuff?
I did.
Okay, I did. Obviously it was filed today. I haven't.
Yeah,
I looked at all this stuff last
I
week.
submitted it on Friday, but we had issues with our internet.
Did you see all that stuff, ma'am?
No.
Ms. Gordon? You know how to access the court file to see things?
Yeah, and I did try this morning and it just comes up blank.
Again, I haven't read any of this stuff. And so it's quite long. So for today, give me just a minute.
I mean, if it means anything, we can just disregard that to be able to continue. I mean, other than there's a photo there and a video that's short.
So what do you want to do there, Ms. Gordon? Again, it's a late filing. You're entitled to look at all this stuff. It's here. I can't ignore it. So we can go forward from today and I can look at if it becomes important for me to look at this stuff. I did read everything up prior to this, including video of some things. And so we can either proceed today, otherwise we can reconvene in a week and Buddy can take a look at what's been filed and then I can consider it and make an appropriate decision. It's up to you folks. Ms. Gordon, you're the petitioner. I'll hear from you first.
I guess if I just get the gist of whatever you're looking at, I'm kind of okay with that. Excuse my voice. I'm still trying to fight COVID for the last few weeks.
Give me just a second. Okay. There's a statement from Anthony Kier. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
It's also a statement from Geneza. And then both of them are quite long. So, Ms., if you want to proceed here today there, Ms. Gordon, I'll swear you in and we'll hear from you. If you want a week to look at the stuff that's been filed, you can do that. There's some fairly detailed statements from folks, which, again, I can't unsee them. I just looked at them now. I kind of scanned through them, but I will consider them since they're in the file. So it's up to you.
Then if that's what you're going to consider, then no,
Sure.
I would like to wait because I need to be able to read that myself.
Okay. If you want to respond to that, you need to get anything in the file by Wednesday. You understand that? Today's Monday.
Yes.
And so given the late filing, ma'am, we'll convene in a week.
Okay.
Casey Casey O'Neill and Ms. Shelley O'Neill can come on the Zoom call.
Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hi. And Ms. Gordon, you're free to leave the Zoom call. So this is a bit of a complicated. So a number of things have been filed here also. I'm going to call these up. Here's what I understand to be where we're at. So Casey O'Neill on the Zoom call brought an order against, or asked for an order against Otto O'Neill, who's here in court. Subsequently, Tara O'Neill, who's also here in court, brought an order, asked for an order against Casey O'Neill. And then later on, Shelley O'Neill is asking for an order against Otto O'Neill. As I understand things, Shelley O'Neill and Tara O'Neill live next to each other. They share a fence. Casey O'Neill does not live on the premises. Tara O'Neill used to be married or used to be a partner with, is that the brother of Casey O'Neill or the cousin? Or what exactly? The cousin. And what was it, Robert O'Neill? Randy O'Neill. I knew it was an R.
Yeah.
So Randy O'Neill. And what's the relationship between Randy O'Neill and Shelley O'Neill? Are they father and or mother and son?
His
or
aunt.
aunts?
It's his aunt.
I see. And so currently also you have an order and your children against Randy O'Neill that covers you and your children, correct? When did that order enter?
The permanent one in November.
In November? Okay, so that's fairly recent.
Yeah.
Now, and then also from what I understand, and again, just how we all got here, Shelley or someone, one of the O'Neills, Shelley or Casey, put a no trespassing sign. There's dispute as to what side of the fence it was on. I think from Tara and Otto O'Neill's perception, it was on their side of the fence. Casey O'Neill was quite adamant in her conversations with the sheriff's office. It was on her side of the fence. In any case, it's not disputed that Otto O'Neill took the no trespassing sign down, went to a different part of the property, used it for target practice, which is somebody else's word, and now kind of here we are. And so that's kind of the long and the short of where we're at. Everybody seems to be nodding.
If I could add something, I also have a protection order for myself and my children against Jamie Hausman, who also lives, it's Shelley O'Neill's daughter, and she also lives with her.
Does she live at Shelley O'Neill's place?
Yes.
Okay. And what's her relation? So, oh, I see.
She's Shelley's daughter.
I got you. So, all right. So, and from what I understand also, there was a dispute, well, this is my property or not. I'm actually going to start with you, ma'am, Tara O'Neill, because everybody's crossed with it. And we'll, at some point, we'll swell everybody in. Everybody will get a chance to speak. What is, I have a question. You could, I don't know who owns that property you're currently living on. What's your long-term plan with that? Or is there one?
I'm actually have a couple of other court cases going on with my ex, a custody case, which I'm trying to include a committed intimate relationship and division of property with that. But he has also filed with Superior Court an eviction for myself and my children.
I see. When's that scheduled to be heard?
The February, it just got rescheduled to February 9th, I believe.
I see.
There is no motion in there. His lawyer struck the motion.
Okay.
So I'm asking for.
And then who owns the property?
Randy O'Neill owns it.
I see. Okay. So you're asking for an order against Casey O'Neill. How do you ask, what, go ahead. Explain to me why you need an order against her.
I've never met her until the day she showed up at my house early in the morning. First I got a call from my sister that someone was pounding on her car door, or she had just dropped her son off with me. And then I got up out of bed and heard pounding and screaming at my door and answered it. And that's when I met her for the first time. I was unsure of why she came to my door, but she was screaming about her horse. I still was unsure what she was talking about, but apparently she bought a horse from my ex.
Rooster?
Rooster, yes, which was our, one of our family horses. But I had no idea she had purchased it because I don't speak with him, and I also don't speak with anybody over at Shelley's home.
Okay.
And then it turned into the no trespassing signs. She brought that up.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But she never came to my home just for a conversation. She didn't come to introduce herself and say, hey, this is what's going on. Can we work together? She came very violent.
Have you had any contact with her since then? Since that, and then somebody submitted the body cam. Was that you?
I submitted that, yes.
Yeah. After that, and even then, there wasn't any interaction between you and her. Have you had any contact with her since then?
No, not since she came to my home. No.
Got it. Shelley O'Neill.
Yes, sir.
Can you come on the Zoom call, please?
I think I am.
Yeah, no, I mean, unmute yourself. So come on so I can hear you. You're asking for an order against Otto. And so how is it that you need an order against him?
Because it's been a nightmare ever since Tara Jean got the order against my daughter. And I've been in the vehicle. Otto or Tara has followed us. I don't know if it's because she doesn't know where Randy's living at the time. I don't really care. What irritates us and scares my 12-year-old grandson who lives here is there's a vehicle involved that belongs to another party that Randy was driving when his car was not working or something happened. That lady is Allison Lewis. She lives in Hawaii. She asked my daughter to sell the car for her because Randy doesn't need it and she doesn't want to pay to ship it to Hawaii. When Tara got her restraining order against Randy, the extra set of keys to that car were still at Randy's house. So Otto has continued until we got the temporary order to set off the alarm in that car all hours of the day and night, 2:00 in the morning, during the middle of the day. He's done it at my daughter's work, so they had to call the police there as well. We're on our 4th no trespassing sign. I put chains on the gates because, yes, we share a property line, and Randy replaced the fence that was there. I contributed the gates. I have a drive-through gate and a walk-through gate. Those were where the signs were that he ripped off. We have bought 4 different no signs. Otto likes to get in vehicles and act like he's going to run through the fence. It's just, until this temporary order went into place, it's always been something. I don't care anything about these people. I don't want to interact with them. I don't want them on my property. I don't go on their property. I just want to be left alone by this kid.
So, thank you. And I'll hear from you in terms of specifically what Ms. Shelley O'Neill just said. I'll probably want to hear from you again when I hear from Ms. Casey O'Neill. So go ahead. What's your position on what you just heard?
My mother instructed me to.
I need you to speak louder so it's picked up on the radar.
My mother.
First of all, how old are you?
18.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My mother instructed me to take down the no trespassing signs. So I did. They were on the internal side of our fence facing towards our property. As far as the extra car, I don't have access to any other keys or don't get access to any other keys. But
so where is the car? Is the car in your place, Ms. O'Neill, Shelley O'Neill?
Yes, it is.
And you're saying there's no key, you don't have the keys?
No, Your Honor.
And you don't have the keys to that car?
No, actually, I'm waiting on keys myself. my ex was court ordered back in November to give back home keys and mailbox keys because he's no longer there and my mail was being stolen. I still haven't received those back. So he has 3 little trucks at our house that we have keys to. I mean, we have keys to our own vehicles. I've never even driven that car or I've never had keys.
Your Honor, that's, if I may, Tara is correct. She has never had keys to that car, nor has she ever driven that car. Again, there's no love lost between her and Allison, so Allison wouldn't allow her to drive her car. But the car came with 2 sets of keys, and the spare set was left at that house. And it's correct, Randy's never been able to get the keys or any of his items because they can't agree on a time and a place or whatever. But that's between them, and I don't care. I just know that according to the car owner, there's 2 sets of keys and the other set was there. She left them there.
Okay. How old is this car?
I don't know. It's a 2000 something silver Honda.
You said this happens at her work too?
Yes. And the police were called and they went to her work. And when they talked to Otto, he said he was just going to Dairy Queen to get something to eat.
Where does she work? Does she work at Dairy Queen?
No, she works at a driving school. It's kind of like a mini, there's a driving school, there's Dairy Queen, there's, I think, there's Domino's Pizza. There's all kinds of little stores in this little area. There's a Starbucks.
And so when the police came, Otto was there?
Yes, he was at Dairy Queen. The thing with Otto is he always likes to let us know that it's him. He's followed us to the store. We went to Walmart. He parks across from us and sits there revving his engine and staring at us. For what reason, I don't know. I mean, it's a typical kid thing, I think. A typical kid that's got issues. His mom says he does this stuff because of his concussions. He's had a lot of concussions. I don't know that. I'm not privy to his medical records. I don't want to know. I just want him to leave us alone and to stop. And I think it's interesting that since the temporary order has been in place, not once has the car alarm gone off.
All right. Ms. Casey, go ahead.
I don't know where to begin. My only interest in this case is my horse that's on my aunt's property. The police told me to put those signs up, and it was New Year's Eve when I was over at I don't know if you know what Truly Motivated building is there in Yelm. So I'm where the property meets, but I'm over here, across the way, and I see fireworks going off and I hear gunshots, and I call, and they had to call the police because my sign was taken down and shot. My horse is my only interest in this case. That's all. I go to that property, I ride my horse. Randy O'Neill did not sell me that horse. Allison Lewis, the owner of the horse, sold me the horse. I've known Allison since I was a teenager. She's the one that taught me how to ride. And so my fear of Otto, let me tell you where my fear of Otto comes from. Yes, I went to their property. I 100% went to their property. Tara had to hold Otto back, who came out without a shirt on and was going to hit me. Which is, I was on their property. Well, I was on my cousin's property. Let's back up a little bit. I didn't know any of the story. I didn't even know he wasn't there. This is all like new information to me. I've been just, I haven't been a part of our family for a while due to my own issues. But he had his mom not have stopped him, that young man would have hit me. He appears a lot stronger than I. A lot stronger. So I am in fear of this young man. And if I could continue my order, I would appreciate it. Also, I have not been served yet while I'm speaking to you. It was supposed to be emailed to me, but
okay. I guess it looked to me like you were. So were you here? You were here last week, weren't you? Didn't we set this over?
You were supposed to email it to me, but I never received it. Which is fine. Your Honor, I accept being served. If that's what
Stop.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all available on the court file. Maybe there was a miscommunication of some kind.
Maybe if you could resend it, that'd be great, and I can look over it. It's really not of
Well,
any
it's not,
importance.
you're not going to send it. You get on the Thurston County District Court website, and then you look in the court file through there.
Okay, I'm
That's the
sorry.
miscommunication. We didn't send it.
Okay, that's my bad, probably.
Well,
But
again,
that's
it's the
all.
same thing then. If I'm going to be on here next week, you won't have to repeat everything. If you want a copy to review all this, we can come back next week.
I don't want the time.
You don't what?
I want it. Do we have to come back next week, or can we resolve
Well,
anything?
you just said you wanted to review all the stuff that had been filed.
No,
and you
I
haven't
don't
been
have-
served. So I'm saying, okay, that's fine. If you know, I understand that. I'll give you an opportunity to review all that. And then, yes, it probably would have to come back next week. But if
No.
you're ready to go forward today on the evidence that I have in front of me here right now, then I can make a decision right now. So I mean, that's kind of up to you. You have the right to be able to look at all this stuff. And if you haven't done it, then I'll give you that opportunity, certainly.
I'd like to proceed, please.
So those no trespass signs,
Yes, sir.
tell me about those. I mean, she says they're on their fourth one. What?
There was 2 that were on our gate that me and my dad had. That whole fence line me and my dad had made the previous summer.
Mm-hmm. And that's Randy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I believe I took pictures of the signs on our side of the fence and along with the locks.
All right. I'm going to ask your mother, do they need that door to get in and out there?
No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, do you need that door?
Do we need it?
Yeah, to
No.
get in and off your property?
No, it's to get, it goes between my property and their property.
I see. So who cares if there's a chain on it and lock?
Oh, we don't care if there's a chain or a lock.
Okay.
It was put on by them.
Okay, well, I thought I heard somebody saying someone was trying to take it off. Did I mishear?
Otto
Say that again, Shelley O'Neill?
Otto was trying to take it off when we first put it on.
I've never tried to.
Okay. So why did you, it hasn't been brought up yet. Why'd you take that no trespassing sign and shoot holes in it? I mean, how do you think that was going to be perceived by other people?
The signs were, they're thin, like sheet metal.
Yeah.
And our horses, since they used to be kind of pasture buddies, they kind of yell at each other from the pasture. And
so you have horses out there too?
Yes, sir.
Not rooster though?
No. Me and my father had bought a horse for each other. And
no, my question is, why did you shoot them? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know, Your Honor. It was a spur.
I don't either. And how do you think that Ms. Shelley O'Neill is going to see that when she puts out no trespassing sign? There's been more. You take one and shoot some holes in it. What do you think she's going to think? Then at the Dairy Queen, do you have any interaction at the Dairy Queen with some police? Do you have any contact with? Well, apparently, Ms. O'Neill, Shelley O'Neill, said that that alarm in that car went off while it was at someone's work, and law enforcement came, and you were contacted the Dairy Queen. You went there to get something to eat, and then, but it was near when that car went off.
No, Your Honor. I've never been approached by any officer.
Okay. Ms. O'Neill,
Yes.
don't laugh. It's possible that I'm not thinking this is funny, so you shouldn't
I'm not
laugh.
thinking it's funny either, sir.
Okay, so tell me about what happened there.
It's very frustrating. It scares my grandson. It scares my granddaughter that live here. I don't know why Otto does the things he does. His mom blames it on his concussions and his impulse control. I don't really know. I'm not a medical doctor. I just want the child to leave us alone. And he doesn't. He has only stopped doing all this stuff. Not once has the alarm gone off. Nobody has followed us. And that has only happened since they were served with the temporary restraining order. So to me, it's working because they're leaving us alone. I certainly don't bother them. I don't care what they do.
Okay.
If I
All
may,
right,
Your
hang
Honor.
on just a second. I'm going to hear from Tara O'Neill. Go ahead.
Regarding my son's concussions, he's had concussions. It doesn't, he's always done target practice. The sad thing is, since splitting up with my ex, he's not his biological father, but he is the only father that he knows.
Right.
And he used to call Shelly Grandma Shelly. And up until we split up, now all of a sudden they want nothing to do with my children because we are not blood O'Neills. And it's actually really sad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My son, he should not have taken the signs. I instructed him to take them down. Our animals have gotten hurt on those kind of signs in the past, ours that we actually put up. So we've learned our lesson. We didn't want them on our side. I did not tell him to shoot them, and he shouldn't have done that. But my son, ever since we lived there, we've done target practice in the same spot. His dad's done it. I mean, the neighbors have always known of it. Some of our other neighbors have even come over to that same area. My son never would try to hurt anybody. He is not that kind of kid. He did not come at Casey O'Neill. She was very aggressive when she came into our home, and I actually thought she was going to try and fight me. My son was woken up out of his sleep, and he was in his underwear. I didn't hold him back. I couldn't hold him back even if I tried, if he was trying to get through.
So, Ms. Shelly O'Neill, I'll hear from you. You want to say something?
Yes. Tara is correct in that we haven't had anything to do with her children, but that's not at our request, that's at hers. She and Randy share a son that is a great nephew to me that she refuses to let any of us see. Her other children, I don't know if it's at Tara's request or their own decision, ignore us. They don't talk to us when they see us. So we have not stopped. Tara stopped the contact between her children and any of the O'Neills.
All right. Do you want to say something, Casey O'Neill? And then I'm going to give a ruling.
I would like to say that she put a restraining order on my cousin and my other cousin, Jamie Dean. So nobody can contact those children because it would be third-party contact, correct?
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to.
I'm sorry, I'm done. Okay, thank you.
Talk about an order that I've never seen. I'm not going to, if you're asking me to say correct or incorrect, the short answer is I don't know, and I'm not going to comment on that.
You don't have to say correct. Our family is very big on family. We always have been. It's important for us to see our family, but that is not our choice, Your Honor. It never has been.
Okay, so the ruling, again, there's 3 cases here, and here's what I'm going to do on all 3 of them. I'll go in chronological order, I think. And then on the case of Casey O'Neill asking for an order against Tara O'Neill, or no, against Otto O'Neill, that's going to be denied. The incident that referenced about she came on to Tara O'Neill's property very early in the morning. I'm not sure exactly when. And again, pounded on the door, created quite, for lack of a better term, a ruckus. I thought the body cam that was submitted by Ms. Tara O'Neill was pretty compelling. And what, and again, I read it before, but I'll read it again. Give me just a second in terms of definition of harassment. Is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. And again, there has been some interaction. Again, I'll get to the trespassing signs when I talk about Ms. Shelly O'Neill's order, but Ms. Casey didn't live on the property. And then I not hear anything that indicates that there's been any sort of threat to this horse, and I know the sheriff's office referenced that in the body cam. And so again, the behavior, Ms. O'Neill has failed to present a sufficient pattern of conduct that rises a level of harassment with regard to Otto O'Neill. With regard to Casey O'Neill being the respondent in Tara O'Neill's petition, that is going to be denied as well. That's kind of their interaction, was essentially a single incident where Ms. Casey O'Neill came onto the property. She, and again, to confront her about something, the state of her horse. And then there was, she had been trespassed from that property by the sheriff's office, told her she had no right to be on that property. As far as I know, she hasn't been back. So again, that hasn't been a pattern of conduct that rises to the level of harassment also. So that's going to be denied as well. With regard to Shelley O'Neill's petition, that's a little bit different because you know, with regard to the horn, the proximity of Mr. Otto O'Neill, when the horn has gone off, there was the disputed issue as to whether or not this happened at her work while Mr. Otto O'Neill was close by at Dairy Queen. He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Ms. O'Neill says, no, that actually happened. Ms. Neal also said that the horn has gone off, stopped ever since the temporary was entered. And also there's the issue of the no trespass signs. I mean, I asked you how old you were, you're 18. You know, just continually put a no trespassing signs out, you take it down. Another one comes up, you take it down. You take one down, shoot it full of holes or a hole in it. I'm not sure exactly how many. Of course, that's going to annoy and harass the people who put the sign out. And so I am going to enter an order in behalf of Ms. Shelley O'Neill. You just got to stop that. You understand that? You're just not to have any contact with her. And don't go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Can I speak?
Yes.
There was only one incident where the sign was put up and taken down.
Okay.
One time.
And before all this, I mean,
I know you got along well, apparently, but I'm just going to draw a line there that you're just not to have any. I'm finding that there's been a sufficient allegations of behavior consistent with harassment. So you just, I know what your position is on that alarm, but I don't want to hear about any alarms again. I don't want to hear about any signs ripped down or shot afterwards. And Ms. Shelley O'Neill and Ms. Casey O'Neill, if you want to put a no trespassing sign, this isn't part of the order. This is just a word to the wise. Put it on the ground, not attached to the fence, on your side of the fence. Just do it. That way there's no dispute about where it is or anything like that. If it's a shared fence, arguably it could be on the, it could be construed no matter which side it's on. Either party would have, if it's a shared fence, may have a right to address it. But given what's alleged, that's what I'm going to do here for today. You understand that, Mr. Otto O'Neill? Okay, you're old enough to figure that out. But all the other two will be denied. Yes, sir.
What are like the?
This is going to be, I'll tell you the perimeter, you're just not to have any contact with her. Don't follow her around. Don't look at her. If she don't talk to her, don't do anything. And if she puts signs up, leave them alone.
May I say one quick thing, even though I'm not involved?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What about the guns? I'm sorry.
No, I'm not making any ruling with regard to that. I mean, you know, the people, and again, I've heard that they've taken target practice on that. And, you know, I don't take guns away from people just because they have them. And I'm not making any ruling on that. You should be smart in how you use that. Otherwise, we'll be back here. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And maybe more serious charges.
my question was, when the sheriff served him, he said that he wasn't allowed to be within 1,000 feet of.
Yeah, we're going to change that. That's going to be, he's just not, there's not going to be a distance restriction.
Okay.
He's not to come onto the premises. So has he not been home since then? Yeah.
No, he.
Okay, yeah. So he's not to come with, he's not, again, give me just a minute here.
Okay,
Let me fill all these out here. Okay, so the order is going to be basically, you're not to do her any harm. You're not to contact her. You're not to engage in stalking behavior, or videotaping or following around or filming or anything like that. And you're not to enter, return to, or knowingly come onto the premises of the protected person, their residence or place of work. So there's not a distance restriction. You can be at your home, anything like that. You just can't. It's basically a no trespass order, and don't have any interaction with this person. Do you understand that? Now, there was the issue of the truck, and whether or not this doesn't really govern that either. In terms of ATV, there's reference ATV vehicles, and I don't know what you're doing on the truck out there, but you should be thoughtful about what you do and how what you're doing is perceived by others. you understand that?
I do.
And so, I mean, there's not like, you can't do this for the truck or you can't do that, but you just need to think about what you're doing out there. You seem smart enough, you'd be able to figure that out. Make a copy of this and then you're free to go.